Cassius Clay shook up the world in 1964. Things don't always turn out the way people expect them to, and that sure was what happened in 1948. Welcome back, and thank you for wanting to know the facts and the truth. What's going on in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is big. You can't miss it on the news. You can't miss it on college campuses, and you really can't miss it online. But what are the facts? Why is this happening? That's what we're here to answer. Our approach is to examine the major themes and focus on the important events that help you make sense of what's happening today. We care about knowing the truth. We also care about the basic human right to live in peace. We care about ending the suffering. We care about finding justice. And we think you're here because you do too. The only path for us then is to go after the facts and be open to what they show us. Life can be beautiful without hatred, violence, and war, and maybe the way there starts with better understanding each other. Better understanding the Jewish people, the Palestinian people, the history of their conflicts and past peace efforts, and some of the major issues standing in the way of forging real peace. What the Hell is Going On in Gaza is a 9-part series made up of 30 episodes, each designed to help you understand a different but important part of the picture. As part 3 of our series continues, we stay focused on the question, how did we get here? To do that, we'll look back on the significant events that really shaped the dynamics of what we're seeing today. Here in episode 14, we'll look at what happened next, the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. It was pretty momentous for all sides. Let's get started. On November 29, 1947, the United Nations adopted Resolution 181, a plan to partition Palestine into independent Arab and Jewish states. As we learned last episode, the Arabs rejected the UN plan because they would not accept the right of a Jewish state to exist in the Middle East. Nonetheless, it was happening. The British designated May 15, 1948 as the date they would withdraw from Palestine. On May 14, 1948, Israel declared its independence. The next day, as planned, the British withdrew. In response to the approval of the UN partition plan, Palestinian Arabs began attacking the Jews, leading to ongoing fighting. One example was the Battle of Castel in early 1948. Arabs and Jews fought for control of the site, overlooking the main Tel Aviv-Jerusalem highway. The Castel changed hands several times before it was finally captured and held by the Israelis. You may recall from episode 4 that Israel, in its Declaration of Independence, offered its Arab neighbors peace, friendship, and cooperation. They weren't interested. Upon Israel's Declaration of Independence and the British withdrawal, the armies of Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria entered Palestine and attacked Israel with the intention of destroying the new state and its people. Other Arab League nations then joined the attack on Israel, including Saudi Arabia and Yemen. This was the start of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, also known as Israel's War of Independence. While there had been fighting during the 6 months leading up to Israel's Declaration of Independence and the British withdrawal, the full-scale invasion by multiple Arab armies marked a dramatic change in the intensity and in the threat to the Jews in Palestine. Here we can see an Arab Legion soldier standing in the rubble of the most sacred synagogue in Jerusalem at the time, the Herva. The outcome of the massive attack by so many of the region's Arab nations was victory for Israel. The invading Arab armies were defeated, and Israel retained control of some of the militarily significant land that the UN had proposed be part of the Palestinian Arab state. Arabs gained control of other land, including Jerusalem, which the UN sought to be controlled internationally, that is, not by Arabs or Jews. The cost of the war was high, though. Some 6,000 Israelis, or 1% of the new nation's population, died in its War of Independence. 2/3 were soldiers, the rest civilians. This is about the same percentage as Americans who died in the Revolutionary War, America's War of Independence. Estimates on the other side were high as well. Approximately 7,000 Arabs died in the fighting, of which 3,000 were Palestinians, 2,000 Egyptians, 1,000 Jordanians, and 1,000 Syrians. The war also caused significant dislocations for both Arabs and Jews. Jordan expelled 40,000 Jews from Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria. Egypt expelled every single Jew from Gaza. Some 900,000 Jews residing in other Arab countries would leave for Israel. Most were expelled or left in fear for their lives. Some 700,000 Palestinian Arabs left Israel, some willingly and some forcibly. This Palestinian exodus was later called the Nakba, which means catastrophe. More on the Nakba in our next episode. War was brought to Israel. Palestinian Arabs and surrounding Arab nations attacked. Again, there was no tolerance among Arabs for the existence of a Jewish state. The consequences were the unnecessary loss of human life on both sides and massive dislocations of Arabs in Palestine and Jews throughout the Arab world. Thank you for continuing to watch our series, What the Hell is Going On in Gaza? We hope you got a better understanding of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. If you'd like to leave a comment or get in touch, visit our website at www.getthefactsmiddleeast.com. There's a lot more to learn in this series, so please continue with episode 15, where we'll examine the refugees of the 1948 war and who is responsible for their plight. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your interest in learning more about the war in Gaza. And remember, where there is no knowledge, there can be no insight.